There we are. We are live for a Truth Proof Extra on a Tuesday. Yeah, Paul, and welcome.
Thank you. Last minute thing, guys. Again, as you know, Les, we're just no time for a short this week, but we have got time just for a natter with you guys for an hour and
Certainly.
just kick a few things around. Amazing. When did we say we were going to do this? Half an hour since?
Yeah, about 6:30, I think we first got it up there.
So thanks for support, and let's have some questions in capital letters and just talk about a few things and your views, and you know what I mean. And let's just share a few ideas.
Yeah,
there's been a few things happening, Les, on Cliffs this week, and it's
yeah, you was up there last night, was you, Paul? And what did you encounter?
Well, last night. Well, let's have a think. What day are we today? We're Tuesday, aren't we? Friday night we had a bit of activity, and I think there'll have been activity all the way through. But we have to attribute some of this activity that there's some exercises going off out to sea. So not everything is UFO related. And last night we did see orange lights, but it could have been tracer flare. It could have been aircraft activity. And I don't want to pretend that it were anything else, although we saw lights inland as well. So I think that part of it's ruled out, and we filmed them inland.
I mean, from the get-go, you try and rule the obvious things out, because obviously we run the Radar 24 app to see what planes are flying at whatever they are.
Well, yeah, there's that, Les, but it's also good to go on military sites and see what exercises they've got going, and they've got.
That's an extra, yeah.
Exercise Chameleon, which ran from 21st of August to 18th of September, so that's finishing in next day or so, and it's in that remit, it's in that area that things are happening, and I don't mean North Sea, it's all over, up and down coast. But I think it's worth noting. And then we've got to Exercise Cobra Warrior, which started yesterday. And there were a lot of aircraft activity. So basically, Les, what we know when we see these lights, we don't usually hear any aircraft activity. We hear nothing, and they're just appearing. But last night there was. So I don't want to throw at in ring and say, oh, we filmed loads of stuff last night and it were interesting, and then you're always going to get shot down with an exercise. So
and these exercises, then, have you noticed? Do they use flares? Paul?
I would have thought so. I mean, the simulated air defense maneuvers, aren't they? So
simulated targets, aren't they, as well? Yeah.
But having said that, the stuff that we've seen over the years, it's not attributed to aircraft. Before we jump into that, because something else happened last night. Let's just have a look in this chat. Chat. We'll see Al Durham's in. Good to see you, Al.
I'll just bring this in, Paul.
Go on.
It just relates to what we were just talking about. Steve T. Paul, could those lights over the North Sea correlate to the solar activity?
Hey, Steve, it could do. Peter Masters, who Les knows quite well as well, and well done with Operation Pete. He's over that. He's not being very well, Pete, and he's just getting over an operation. But he's our man. We always call him our electrical expert and techie expert, because that's basically what he is. And he always throws up these solar flares and that, and asks us to look out for any kind of activity when that's happening. And I'll tell you what as well, Steve, it's been taking place when there's been a lot of sightings or visuals of the Northern Lights, which is interesting as well. So yeah, I think you could be right there. Shall we just jump into a few of these names, Les?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so we've got Mike, Disabled Welshman, good to see you. William Nielsen, Stan Smith, Al Durham, Gemma Jackson. Let's have a look. Mark Anderson, Rebecca King, Hizo, and Tessa Marie. Let's have a look. Steve T, who we've just spoke to. Yeah, Steph. And let's have a look. There's 78 people, so apologies, because I can only see probably 12. What I'm looking at the moment. Jeremiah Abbott, good to see you. And yeah, and shall we jump back to net? Unless you see any more names here, let's just because honestly, with Melinda, we value your support to put this on 30 minutes before and find that we've got Beer Monster, a man after my own heart. I can't fault you,
Yeah, Stan Stan Smith, William Nielsen, Steph.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys, for coming on. Yeah,
it's really good,
and it's your show. So whatever you want to discuss, just put it in the comments, please, and we'll get round to discussing what you've wrote.
Yeah. So getting away from the aircraft activity last night, and we'll stay with John Paul Body. We'll stay with last night for a moment. We're up there. There's me, Pete, Linny, Mark came up, Mick were up there, Patrick Daniel, who's come up for a week's holiday, and we're all kind of enthralled by what we're looking at and these visual displays out at sea. Bearing in mind, as I need to stress, when we're seeing these things as a rule, or anything not similar, but anything anomalous overseas, there's no plane noise. But anyway, Mark's got a powerful torch and he shines it inland. And let's just say that it's 200 yards away to the horizon of that hill, and then the contours of the land. And hold your hand out 3 inches, and so you're in the sky. And as he puts his torch on, he hits something. And I saw it. Mark went, "Oh, what's that?" And I looked and saw it. It looked like the moon. It hit a light in the sky that weren't there until his torch hit it. So I found that absolutely fascinating. That to me was the most interesting thing I've seen in weeks and weeks, well, probably months up there, because it was solid. It was a solid light that was invisible until the torch hit it and it just switched off. And I found that fascinating. And then whilst we're on the stand, I'm stood next to Pete, and at the edge of the cliff, the voice went, "Paul." And Pete, in his broad Yorkshire Barnsley accent, said, "Did thou just hear that?" And I said, "Yeah, it said my name, didn't it?" And we heard something say my name. Honestly, you can make this stuff up, people, but in a way you can't. And we saw lights in the grass again, which were quite fascinating. I see Mel Souters in Les, Zeno, Gilly B, David, Rebecca King. We've done that name, and Sober Carper, Pete Armstrong. Any questions in it?
Yeah, we'll just deviate a little bit. AMJ, can we talk about the fascination with visiting, with the aliens visiting us? As humans, we are curious of the unknown, but when push comes to shove, aren't they here to help us? They have all the answers, but won't help seemingly normal folk.
It's a weird one, AMG, isn't it? You know, I mean, obviously I haven't got the answers, and I don't think anybody has, but it does make you wonder what their input is. I mean, the frightening thing is, are we a crop? That is terrifying, isn't it? And is this planet at critical mass right now, as a population overload? And I mean, I'm not saying we are, but what if that were the reason? What if they don't intervene? What in the past, I think we've talked about this. What if you've heard military people say that they've disarmed nukes. What if they've disarmed nukes for all the opposite reasons to what we think? So they've disarmed nukes to help humanity, or have they disarmed nukes to protect their asset? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Are we the asset? It really is a strange one. If they're here to help us, and we hear there's all these atrocities and terrible things, we aren't going into detail, happening around the world, and if these beings of unknown origin are here to help us, as you say, AMG, why aren't they helping us? And this just goes throughout time. We put that short on how long since, Les? Probably 3 months since, the theatre of war. It were no epic. It were just a few thoughts and images put together, but it showed throughout time. If we look back into documented history, how the Romans and other leading cultures of the time have documented that they've seen things in the sky during battles, and it's decided these things, shields in the sky and crosses in the sky that have leveled armies and things. It's decided the outcome of a battle or a war. So how do we deal with that one? Is it the faction that's on the winning side, should we say, is their culture and their way of thinking favourable for what these unknown others want, their agenda? I don't know. I love kicking ideas about, and that's what you guys are good at doing as well.
Yeah, and I think to sort of like push all that forward, you talked about history in that short video, and these sightings and what the writings were about, and what it sort of like brings us up to World War Two, where they saw these Tic Tacs
Well,
and
they
things
saw
like
the
that.
Foo Fighters, didn't they?
The Foo Fighters, I should
Yeah,
say, yeah.
yeah.
And so, how influential did they win a war, or was
Or the
what
observers?
was the
It's hard
purpose?
to
Yeah,
know. The Foo Fighters look a lot like the spheres of light that we're observing. I see Dragonborn's in. Good to see you. Big Bird, Grandma, Stan Smith, Alison. Great stuff. Thanks for joining us, Alison. Last minute thing, weren't it? I hope you've managed to have your tea. But yeah, it's fascinating, and it just goes on and on, doesn't it?
yeah, right. Okay, I've got Zeno is asking, and welcome to the stream, Zeno. Great supporter. Have either of you ever watched the Alien Report?
I don't think I have, Zeno, unless it's that grainy bit of footage, and you just put yes or no for us in chat if you want, of the alleged alien being interviewed. I think it maybe Area 51 or something, and then it's I don't know whether there's any provenance in the film at all, so I don't know. Not watched it. No.
No, I haven't watched it either. And so we've talked about this before. I think we talked about last week. Red is asking any patterns with the phenomenon like seasonal changes, etc.
I think there is, yeah. I really think that there are patterns, and I think we as human beings can kind of tripwire the phenomena as well. I think if you take and maybe that arcs back to why people invest time in what the Stephen Gray thing, CE5, whether you think it's good or whether you think it's bad. Maybe we can all do it without investing time and money in CE5. The protocol. Maybe it's just within us all. I think it's the mindset. And I can't see the question now. Just flick it back, Les, if you can, please.
Okay.
No worries if you can't.
I'll bring it back. Yeah.
But no, it's okay. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I think as a collective, as people, a group of people going down there, you create that buzz, you create that fuss. Yesterday morning, I went. Yeah, patterns in the phenomena like seasonal changes. Is it we become really expectant of something happening? End of October. November, December, and I wonder if that's because we think, well, there's going to be nobody else there but us, and we like that. I don't know, but there does seem to be a lot of activity. November, December, yeah, and repeat the patterns as you've just said. November the 19th. Sorry, November 2019, November the 12th and the 14th, there were the cryptid sightings. And you've got this correlation with the light form phenomenon, the cryptid sighting. Then you'd got the paratroopers who saw the alleged cryptid on the cliff tops on what year was that? That was 2019, February the 7th, and then February the 8th the following year. Bob Brown and Gemma saw the square of white light on the hillside. It's almost a repeat pattern, isn't it? It's not the same thing, but there's something to do with the dates and maybe the expectancy in the air. I really don't know, and I'll be forever scratching my head. Mickey Parker, evening guys. Go on, Les.
Paul, report. We've had no more giant foxes staring at the house. I don't know anything about that, Paul. Can you?
I do, and it was name that threw me, Mickey Parker, and yeah. So basically, this is an interesting story that Mickey woke up in. I don't know what time it was. Found himself looking out of his bedroom window onto the main road, other houses at the other side of the road, and there's a huge red fox staring at the house. I've seen the footage. It's a really big red fox. It really is. It's a red fox.
Yeah.
But as someone walking down the road, I mean, you've just thrown that one on me there, Mickey. But someone walking down the road has obviously seen it, and they're a bit freaked out by it because this fox is not absolutely terrified of people. It literally just walks off and goes behind a vehicle. But where are we going with this? He'd been reading, I think, Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. And we can't say there's a connection to that, but it was strange that the shape shifting and the skinwalkers, and then was Fox into skinwalker people, is it? But he's sort of stood at his window, and there's this huge red fox, and it's bloody big. It is a really big animal looking up at his window. And I likened it to my daughter Jessica, and our grandson's 10 now, I think. So 9 or 10 years ago, 10 or 11 years ago, Jess rang me up and she said, well, she's in here, she'll not mind. She said, Dad, she says, there's strange things happening in the house. I said, really? She said, yeah. What's that? Well, you'll have to bear with me, people. What's that?
Well, unexpected departure by Paul.
No, can you hear it, Les?
No.
It's that.
Oh.
So I can't have that going. It's driving me nuts. Sorry. Oh, sorry about that, people. There were just something buzzing. I had to let you listen to it. So Jess says, Dad, there's strange things happening in the house. Electrical cracks, bangs, and right in our faces when we're laid in bed, to the point where her husband was sleeping with the lights on. It happened for about 2 weeks. They got an electrician in even to check the wiring and everything. But what I found interesting was, she said, I bought a book just randomly. She said, I don't know what it is. And she showed me the book, and it was called Dead Mountain. And it was the Dyatlov Pass incident.
Right.
And I'm sure people in chat will have either read it or have got some knowledge of Dyatlov Pass incident. And you sometimes wonder if we kind of create a connection to the unknown unknowingly by putting ourselves in these zones. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I making sense here, people? Tell me if I am or if I aren't. I don't know, but that activity, and I need to say that Jess's husband is you would call him a real skeptical kind of guy, but he was sleeping with the lights on. He said because you'd be laid there and there'd be an electrical crack right in your face, right again you, and you'd see little flashes. So it were really bothering him. Whether it's connected to reading that book and evoking something, I don't know. The MIB are here. Go on then.
Mark Anderson, gents, do you chaps use apps like Stellarium?
I don't, but the guys on the cliff tops do, Mark. My knowledge with phones and expertise is pretty low. I don't know about you, Les.
I ain't got it on mine, but I'm not up there as regular as you guys. But no, I've not got it on my phone. But I know they have. So yeah. Has there been any ghost sightings at Bempton from the sober carper?
Well, it depends what you call ghosts, sober, I suppose. I mean, we might all have our own different interpretation of them, because we've set, jumping from Bempton momentarily, with the White Lady of Danes Dyke, a sphere of white light. So if you were doing some kind of spirit hunt, some kind of ghost hunt in some haunted building, and you saw a sphere of light, an orb, would you think it was a spirit? Because we see spheres of light up there. Would some people interpret them as ghosts? I don't know. A few weeks ago, Mick and myself saw the outline of a person not very far away from us, and walking back a few days prior, I'm not sure about exact time span, Pete said, oh, there's a bloke walking towards us. And you picture if you're looking in darkness and you see outline of trees and it's just a black shape and you know it's a tree, this was just the shape of a man or a woman. Never the two met. There were nobody there. You know, as it just vanished, whatever it was. Now, I'm talking here as though there's things happening up there all the time. There isn't. Let me tell you now, there isn't. We can go for 6 months, 8 months, and there's nothing happening. And we're actively investing time trying to catch phenomena, but it's not happening. Can you hear that buzzing? It's driving me mad. Can you hear it?
No.
No. Good. I'll put up with it then. So
yeah, thank you, Big Bird, for the donation tonight. And Big Bird says donation towards equipment, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
Another one from Zeno. Have you guys heard of Richard Forbes's video about talking about two moons. I haven't
No,
seen that one.
Zeno. No,
But
afraid
now
not.
you've
No,
mentioned it, I'll seek it out after the show.
the two moons.
Um,
Before you get to the next question, who we got on live stream Thursday, Les? Is it Ron Murphy, isn't it?
yeah,
And he's going to be talking. He's quite an interesting guy. He's going to be talking about all things strange and unusual. He invests a lot of time in the cryptid phenomena, but he also talks about the Fae. And Les has made the connections with this guy. So all being well, we'll be with Ron on Thursday.
yeah, so that should be pretty exciting. Let's have a look. We've got. He's Paul. You are the keys to the portal on the cliff.
Who could say? I don't particularly think so. He's. I spend a lot of time up there, and I'm looking for answers. I've been there today, hence the redness in the face. After I'd got what I'd done, I just needed to unwind a bit, and I went up onto Ridge of Danes Dyke for an hour or two, north side. But I've noted, and broken record here, but I've noted that when I take certain people up there, things happen. And I don't know whether it's because of the expectancy in their minds that connects with the unknown. I really don't know.
Okay. Zeno says the CE5 protocols are a standard interactive rule used for centuries for contact.
Yeah.
Maria Orsic in Hitler's Reich used them to contact entities for knowledge and weaponry, i.e. Werner von Braun.
Do you know, Zeno, you sound like somebody that should be coming on a Sunday and spending an hour talking with us and the people in the chat, because I know nothing of this, and even talking about the CE5 protocols, providing we mixed it in with a few accounts, because I've noted that people in our chat love to hear about other people's accounts and stories, and myself included. Providing we mixed it in, consider dropping us a message and coming on and sharing some of this knowledge.
Okay.
That buzzing's driving me nuts. I'm going to have to stop it, guys. Carry on, Les, because I just can't deal with it.
Okay, Dragonborn is asking, is there a certain moon phase when these happenings? Free. Yeah, just put in a trash can.
I'm gonna.
So, certain moon phase when these happenings are more prevalent. Yeah, we're just seeing, as Paul said, he had reactions last night and a few nights before that. So, yeah, we have come up to a full moon.
Oh!
We have come up to a full moon. And has that any relevance, Paul?
I don't know. I don't know. It's good up there, us visually, because I can actually, if we're talking cameras and not unexplained phenomena, the Sony NX80 performs well with a full moon. Do you know what I mean? So you can film things in 4K, but I know that's not your question. I think there's a relevance to the moon with some things. There's a relevance to the moon with people. I think it alters mood and other things. They do call people lunatics, don't they? But there you go.
Okay.
Let's have a look.
Peter Armstrong. Paul, remember that Twilight Zone episode, How to Prepare Man? It could be similar to what they come here for.
And Peter, I don't remember it, but
I can't remember the episode.
No, apologies.
That's another one I'll have to seek out after the show. Gemma is asking, I believe that they want our souls as they only live for 200 years and they die, no soul. If that's the case, it would point them to being AI. Okay,
right. So I kind of I'm with you on one part of that question, and I'm not with you on other, Gemma. As in, I think there's a possibility they're interested in that little bit of you, Gemma, you, Les, everybody in chat. Patrick Daniels in. Good to spend some time with you today, mate. You, Gemma, and everybody in chat, as in that they seem interested in emotion. And if it might just be part of human body composition, emotion. It might be nothing to do with the soul, but the little bit that makes you cry, the bit that makes you laugh, I think that's your soul, perhaps. And that's what they seem to be lacking. That's what they seem to be interested in. The bit I don't agree with or don't know about is they only live for 200 years. How do we know that? Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying you're wrong, Gemma. I just don't know how we would know that. And if that's the case, it would point to them being AI. I don't know. And if they live for 200 years, and I don't know that either. But do they want our souls, or are they interested in that part of us? Then there's a good possibility that they are, in my opinion. But that's all it is, my opinion.
Okay, let's have a look. Sky 37 Blue Paul. Are there any reports of lights on the opposite side of the water in Denmark?
You make a good point, and I don't know. I don't know, and it'd be great to get some listeners from the opposite side of the water, or anybody that in the chat that might have connections over there. Because obviously, if you've got connections with people over there, it don't mean that they're going to be interested in it unexplained, but you might have. It'd be interesting to find out that, wouldn't it?
Get well message. Get well, son, Pete. I'll be on about soon when you are well, mate. So that's from Mel there.
Thanks for that, that's Mel. Nice. Thanks, Mel. Yep. And I'll make sure he hears that.
Okay. Okay. Only a little subject, this one, Paul. And Grandma, Lennon Paul, what are your thoughts on the 1947 Roswell incident?
Do you know something? Just briefly, I mean, my thoughts on Roswell incident, I think something probably happened. I mean, why would they have, the paper have printed that they've recovered a disc if they hadn't recovered a disc? And, you know, it seems a bit of well, it's a hoax then, if it was a hoax that sort of backfired in their faces, because it's stuck in people's minds since 1947. But when I was looking for something earlier, I had this 1947 thing here, and so that question's quite by chance. But just out of interest, 1947. So I hope I've got it now. In Bridlington, right? Yeah.
Oh.
And so February, so we talk about weather conditions and all different things. Severe February 1947, they said they'd got severe blizzards, low temperatures like they'd never experienced for many, many years. Bridlington was cut off. So, okay. So then we go to March 15. We've got 15th. We've got, and this can't have been the same type of flares and the same type of military activity that we're seeing in 2024. Saturday, March 15th, mystery flares off Bempton. And I've noted the moon as well. It were a waning crescent and a moon. I always note moon for some bloody reason. So that were March 17th. On May 17th, that were March 15th. On May 17th, they found a body floating in the South Pier. Never identified the body. So, I mean, that's just a fatality. Somebody could have just fell in, but they never found out who it was. On the same day, so we got 17th of May, they found bullocks, cows, dead at the bottom of Silex Bay, plus more cows further up the bay, found floating, waning crescent moon, same type of moon. Then in July, we had 82 hours of sunshine, unprecedented, it said, red hot July. 16th of July, it's a bit macabre, this, people. Another body found floating in Bridlington Bay. Waning crescent moon once again, which is the correlation to moon, I don't know. So that's hold on. Oh, sorry, 16th of August. I need to get my facts right. August 22nd, which is only 6 days later, 2 men floating in Bridlington Bay. It sounds macabre. I mean, we didn't sign up for 1947 like this, people, did we, tonight? Right. So let's have a look. Saturday, 23rd, a girl vanished. Later that day, the girl's body was found in the sea. There's a lot of fatalities in 1947, as you can see. Hottest August in 14 years. And it goes on. And it's pretty macabre, so I don't want to run you all into some kind of downer, so I'll stop with 1947.
Yeah, so my thoughts are pretty similar to Paul's. I mean, it was such an obvious cover-up, as Paul said, by the newspaper first putting out something had happened, and then rebuking that all a day later, and then coming out with this fabric, what they said was a weather balloon, and doing all the drama for that. So yeah, big cover up. but it's only speculation, I think, as to know what really happened.
Exactly, and it's ran and ran, hasn't it? 1947 to now. Do you know what I mean? It's a long time for something of no real consequence to have attacked
Yeah,
the attention of the public.
and I think that's key, because I think the time difference between 1947 and 2024, there's that much being talked about it. There's that much of it, the information being infiltrated with other spurious information, that it's all now got that convoluted. You're never going to know the truth.
Is it 70, 76, 77 years ago? Is it what we got? It's a long time, isn't it?
Yeah. So and I think that happens with all these reports, all these what span years and years. And it's a bit like the Rendlesham in my mind, because as the years go on, it's just more of it's going to feed into that story.
Mm.
And we take it on board. People won't be alive soon when that actually happened. And probably they're not even alive. You know, people watching it now, this might not have been alive when that happened. That's what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely, yeah. December 1980, Rendlesham Forest, and things had been happening prior to Rendlesham Forest, and the Rendlesham Forest incident, should we say?
Well, it's like you, Paul. You might have a view on that Rendlesham Forest or Roswell, which you have, and that view would probably get implanted in all that information in 100 years' time. You know what I mean? What you said today, people would probably regurgitate that like 100 years down the line.
Yeah, and they'll probably say we're wrong, but no, just you're right, and we've all got our own take on it, haven't we? And I just think we have to keep it open. We've got to keep these things running, no matter how historic. That's why I still latch on to XS894, the Lightning that were lost off Flamborough Head on September the 8th, 1970, because I still know there's mileage in that due to the fact that.
Yeah,
there's lots of information UFO related to pack around it from within the same time frame. It could be coincidence, but I'm not sure it is.
Yeah, and just to finish on that, I think, like the 1947, the Roswells and all that. I think the feed is that much misinformation, as I've already said a little bit earlier. That you're probably never going to know what really happened. The only thing I'll give credence to I'll give a lot more credence to the Rendlesham, is that there was a tape recording done by Colonel Holt on one of the nights of where he was called out into the forest. Is that right, Paul?
That's correct. Yeah, the Holt memo, weren't it, or something? But and it was Colonel Holt that got that brought out, I think, weren't it?
Yeah,
and I think, I mean, he'll probably tell me if I'm wrong, and because I've spoke to Colonel Holt in the past. I think before the Rendlesham Forest incident and him going on record saying what he'd seen and stating, he was tipped to go way up in the ranks within the military, and that's where he stayed as regards his military career, as regards rank. Which is, it's no mean feat, a colonel, but it kind of tells you the restrictions of sticking your neck out and reporting on these things. But while we're on with Rendlesham, I spoke to a guy who lives in Beeford, who were at the British military base during the Rendlesham Forest incident on radar. Someone tells me it were RAF Watton. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I spoke to him face to face. He tells me that after the incident. American cars, I think he said there were blue and white cars, came on base, pastel blue cars. Men in suits came, took their tapes, took the radar tapes, and they were warned not to speak about anything. I did speak to Colonel Holt about it when he were coming over, but this guy, well, he'd just undergone a quite a serious operation, to be honest. But even having said, he wouldn't have spoke to him anyway. He didn't want to. He didn't want to stick his head above parapet at all. And once again, who can blame people if you've got a pension to guard and everything else that goes with it?
Well, this is it. They have a lot to lose when they're in service in the military. And are you going to give it up? Are you going to throw it all away?
No, well, you wouldn't. I don't think I'd lie for it, but if it meant keeping my mouth shut, I'd do that, because you can't afford to give up your livelihood, can you?
No, and I think with both these incidents as well, and lots of other incidents, by the way, not so prominent, but as an important. I think people come from the premise, us, that's you, me, and everybody on the stream tonight, most probably come from the premise that authority lies and lies and lies to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's your starting point. So
Yeah.
if that's your starting point, what formulation are you going to, end at?
Yeah. It's terrible, isn't it?
So you're pre-programmed to think, well, these people lie anyway.
But we absorb it. We absorb it. That's what we do. We aren't getting political because that's not what we're about. That's what we do. Go on then, Liz.
Okay, let's have a look. Going back to the what you was talking about earlier. Zeno, Alexander's army witnessed a flying shield that threw a light onto the enemy fortress, breaking its walls down. Something has been molding us for millennia.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on, and that's why I latched onto during the shorts the theatre of war one that we did. I honestly thought we'd have got a lot more views of that. So go and have a look at it, people. No, but I honestly thought we would, because I found it fascinating that, and the documented history tells us through time that these anomalies, these spectacular things, have appeared over warring armies or just before great conflict, and it's fascinating. So something's been guiding us throughout time, or steering us even in the direction it wants.
He's 64. Paul, hearing someone or something saying him and hearing the croak, do you think it was a projection or something from a different dimension?
I don't know. It was something, and I weren't going to say anything. I heard it, and Pete just looked at me and he went, "Did they hear that?" I said, "He said my name." He goes, "Yeah, I know it did." And I said, "Paul," but it weren't one of us. It was from over at Cliff. It was really strange. And while we're on with this, because we put a short out with the help, in corroboration with Chris Meek, when he kindly went to Ben McDo, and we put that out. What night did we do it, Les? What, it's Saturday?
Last Saturday, yeah.
Saturday. Yeah. And do you know something? We missed something off that short. And I think Chris maybe touched on it when he did the live stream, but the noise that he heard on the side of Ben McDo, on the mountain when they were camping, this strange noise, which is odd, isn't it, when you talk about this croaking, this strange sound, because that's what we heard, or a similar thing, like rocks clacking together, very hard rocks. He heard it in his hallway at home. Did we touch on that, Les? I think we did.
I think we've mentioned it,
well,
but it wasn't on the...
And he's amazed. Obviously, everyone knows their own home. And he said he heard it in the hallway of his home. He said there were only him in house. I think he's got an office at the end of the hallway, and he heard that noise. So are we looking at something akin to the Hitchhiker effect? I think we maybe are.
Okay, let's have a look. Go back to me. Right, so what's this one from Luke F? Have you ever experienced a sudden silence that has been reported around Bempton?
Oh, yeah. I don't say it, Luke, as though it's so flippantly, but yes. Where I went today to the end of Dane's Dyke, I said to Patrick, who was with me, I said, this is where that fear dropped on me, was we were walking down. And it were walking back, as a broken record, Paul, again, repeating it, but walking back, everything went quiet, everything went kind of static, and I felt frightened. So, yeah, I've experienced it. There's a lady called Sally. Oh, gosh, I wish I could remember your name. And I should do, because she's a great supporter. But she called it like they were in a glass tunnel as they were walking along the clifftop paths, her and her husband. And they walked into it and walked out of it. So what it is, Luke, I don't know. I don't know what creates that feeling, whether it's something that we're thinking we're feeling, something that's putting it on us, or whether it's an environmental change. I don't know. But, it's not a nice thing, because it's like almost like you've been detached from the real. Deborah Jane East. Good to see you, Deborah. Yeah, not seen you for ages. And Fire Spirit, D-Moon's Son. Let's have a look. Tree Blind Thrice. That takes some saying, doesn't it? Steve Moore. Yeah. And yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and you have some books for sale, don't you, Paul?
I do have some books for sale, and if you want to go on to the truthproof.uk website, there it is, website, as Les has just put up, thank you. All the paperbacks are there, bar book one. This is a kick up the backside for Paul, because I've been ordering them for weeks and I haven't done. There's no book ones at the moment. You can also obtain them via eBay. And if you want the digital versions, the Kindle versions, they're on Amazon to download and read for Kindle. And then, if I can find it, what have I done with DVD? I'd like to say this. What me and Les have done, Wolflands, that's on Amazon Prime. And, read the reviews. And it got a glowing review in 40 Times. And it took us 3 years to do. It's not War and Peace. It's not, but there's a lot of hard work gone into it. But without the witnesses, we could have done nothing. So Wolflands is there to view on Amazon Prime if anybody's interested. Or, missed that bit out, you can order it through truthproof.uk as a hard copy, as a DVD, because we didn't think people would be interested in DVDs, but we're still selling them. So all good.
I think you got it all in tonight, Paul.
Oh, that's good.
Well done. Well done.
I'll probably forget on Thursday.
Yeah, okay. I'll throw this one up from Mark Anderson, Dragon. Oh, right. This was actually a reply to Dragon. I found a Dutchman wood sometimes appears more active at full moon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, it's good then, isn't it, that you guys are finding, the weather, specific times of the year and weather sort of influential towards the phenomena as well. And we'll tell you what will be interesting, Mark. What type of phenomena are you seeing in this woodland when it's more active, or is it multi-phenomena? I don't know. I see Lee Roscoe's in. Good to see you, mate. All good. Cal Dan, I'll see you next week. 40 and 23. Yep. All good.
Mark Anderson, Paul, I found activity happens with emotional, mental activity. Say when I'm angry, etc. The activity occurs more.
Right. Okay. And yeah, I would think. I think you're right. And maybe not necessarily angry as well, Mark. Maybe, or does the anger influence the type of experience you have? Does that apply to people listening to this and reading that question? Does your mood, you guys, does the mood affect the type of experience you have? And let's be truthful about this. The experiences will be few and far between, but of the ones that you've had, were you in a different emotional state when they happened, or were it just out of the blue and you thought, Christ, what's just happened to me?
Okay.
Jeremiah Abbott, there is a documentary called Bringing Down the Light. Yeah, you can't get hold of it now. I keep getting emails about it as well. That's what me and Chris Turner made. It's gone somewhere else. So go on then.
Right, hi, Paul. What do you think about the Danes Dyke to Bempton area being a kind of battery lowering in different phenomena?
Yeah, just what you've said. Some people would say, John, is it a portal area? Is it an area where other dimensions? But so I think it's just a play on words. And yeah, an energetic area, yeah, an excitable area that lures in different types of phenomena. Do you know, John? I can't remember year. I think it was 2004, and I was told about the guy who worked at the supermarket in Bridlington, which would have been the Summerfield back then. And this guy relayed a story to me about being a 16-year-old just leaving school, and some people in the chat have heard this, others won't. He just left school and he's working at the Summerfield, and there's one of the guys who's higher up, manager or whatever, and he's telling him outside about seeing what he described as a monster on the golf course at the back of Danes Dyke. He says, and we all laughed at him. We just thought it was a joke. And he shut up, he clammed down, never said a word. Well, between me and the guy who told me years later, because he said I felt bad about it because I realised how serious he was, we traced this man. And I managed to speak to him anyway, and he gave me a description and emailed me what he'd seen. And strangest thing, and they went on to driving range, him and a friend, after work one night. So it's picture a rectangle of trees and that for protection when you're driving these golf balls. And you've got Danes Dyke just 100 yards away, running down. Says, and we're both there, he said, and out of the tree line, this white thing stepped out of the tree line, very thin, emaciated, couldn't see any eyes, couldn't see any fur, couldn't see anything. No discernible, like, it just had arms and legs, but it was just emaciated and thin and white. And it stepped out. He said, and I said, what the effing hell is that? Under my breath. And my friend said, can you see that? And when he said it, it turned and looked at us, and we still couldn't see eyes. But it terrified them. They put the golf clubs away and did a run. This is the strangest thing that somebody said they've seen. I've never heard a report of anything like that. And I had to chase that man from a story that he told back in about 2004 to a group of young lads working at Summerfield. And then I traced him again in 2024, and he relayed it to me. I'd love more details on it, please. If you are listening to this, please get back in touch, because it's a fascinating one.
G. Hawkins, Paul, you spoke about finding a potential spot or location to use whilst on the cliffs. Do you think the farmer where the old RAF base is would be open to renting one of the old huts there for you to use?
I doubt it. He's got cattle on it and other livestock, and I doubt it, Gareth. And it's good to see you here, mate, because I've been with Patrick Daniel today, and this will make sense to people in chat in a moment, stood where he had his experience. And strangely enough, the experience began at the campsite where you were camped a few years ago, where you had your experience looking over onto those fields. So I realise that's all a bit cryptic for people in chat. So, Gareth, if throw that out to you, if you want to come in one Sunday and just spend 10 minutes talking about that, about these strange things that you saw running through the crop, I think people would be fascinated. And once again, we've got an area, just like John Boddy's just said, we've got a little area there. It's a kind of concentrated area of strangeness within the area of strangeness, because it's all close to where Patrick was and where G. Hawkins was.
Okay, thanks for that. And 1423. I should probably know this, but have you ever done any CE5 sessions up on the cliff tops, Paul? And did you get any positive results?
I did some meditation, and meditation's not really my thing, Fortian, I've got to admit, with Andrew Collins, when Andrew came up a couple of times. Deb Shaw came, and Wendy Rose, and can't remember her name. Please forgive me, because you did all the announcing at the Awakening. Oh, come on, help me if you're in here. And they came up to do the CE5 protocol, but I didn't take part in it with him. But I did the CE5 with Martin Abbas about 6 weeks ago in Danes Dyke. And it was quite interesting. We didn't see anything groundbreaking or anything, but I did get an image of something in my mind, funnily enough, like a triangle pointing down. And when I told Martin, he said that's what he'd got in his head. So, and it don't mean it because we call him Dr. Martin Abbas, but it could be doctor or he could be a scientist. People can still make these things up, but I don't think he were doing. So yeah, we've had a go at it. Jury's out for me with that 140, and I don't know. I think anybody can do this with the right mindset, with the right. We're all going there with these. These are our tools to go in there and try and engage with the phenomena. And if like the American Indians say when they're talking about the skinwalkers, if you go into these areas with bad intent, chances are, if you're going to have an encounter, it's not going to end well. But they say if you go in there with good intent and burn sweetgrass, and go in there with good emotion, no harm will come to you. Maybe the same rules apply across the board for all of the unexplained. And
was that other lady's name, was it Holly?
Yeah, Holly. Yeah. And so, yeah, lovely woman, along with Wendy. Holly, yeah, Wendy's. I've just seen it there, Wendy. Thank you. Yeah, it's because Wendy came with us.
My disabled Welshman, both Rendlesham and Roswell UFO incidents definitely happened. No doubt of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we're all on the same page with that. There's something definitely happened. But I wonder how many, Mike. I wonder how many other incidents around the world have happened, and people, for want of some people have just said nothing and just sort of gone to ground with it, and other people have been vocal. I mean, like Rendlesham, Roswell, Woolsthorpe. I've talked about Woolsthorpe and I've talked about Hummonby, and part of me sometimes wants to invest a whole lot of time in just Hummonby, nothing else. A bit like what Kaz Clark's doing with Penturk. And that's the only way to bring these things to prominence. But I just love it when I get these reports in and get the opportunity to talk to different people. I'm talking to someone later tonight about seeing things at Cannock Chase, which is fascinating. And you just can't. I can't switch off from it.
Could it be real? I saw a couple of strange lights over the Humber Estuary 4:30 on Monday morning. I looked and they're switched off, not faded out, as if someone had turned off a switch.
Yeah, that's interesting, that one, because that's out of the hours of the military training exercises. This exercise Chameleon and the other one, which were, I can't remember its name now, but I did write it down. But so that one's interesting. But there has been a lot of strange lights and anomalies seen recently. But like we said before, could it be real? It's important to also note that there are military operations taking place at the moment.
Yep. And Gemma is saying, Paul, do you think the UFOs are transdimensional?
I don't know, Gemma. I don't know. Could be. I really don't know. I think all I can say with any certainty, Gemma, is that these things are arriving here. Or what if they're already here? What if it's just some exotic science that we've got no knowledge of? We know that men of science will turn around and say, no, it's not possible. They can't be traversing the universe because of the time and space involved. But what if something's set off on its evolutionary journey, not 1,000 years in front, not 10,000 years in front, but millions of years in front? How could we possibly be that grandiose and knowledgeable to know what they've discovered in that time, when you consider what we've discovered in the last 100 years? Or somebody in their 80s or 90s, if you would have said some of the technology that we've got today, what if you'd have said that to them when they were 20 years old? They'd have just looked at you like you were talking like you were from out of space. So transdimensional, I've no idea. All I know is that they're here. There's lots of possibilities of where they could evolve from, Gemma. They could be below oceans. They could be walking amongst us. They could be within the earth. I don't know.
That's it. And if you want my view, it's not dissimilar to Paul's, actually. I think 99.9% of them are already here. And
I think I married an alien. I think about 40 years ago. Sometimes I do.
Joking. Okay, we won't go there. We'll move on, Paul. We'll move on. G. Hawkins, I'm sure we could all chip in for any rent to make it fit for you. And this is the talk of an observational post, so we can permanently look out onto the North Sea.
It would be amazing, wasn't it? Because it were only last week that a guy offered us a good caravan, big one. I think he thought we'd got the land somewhere to put it. He said, "You can have this, you can use this," but without the land, it's no good. We need somewhere, and it wouldn't be if you just played with that idea for a moment. It wouldn't just be me involved. It'd be a collection of people, because I couldn't just live there, could I? You need a lot of eyes and a lot of people collecting data, and then it would become a really viable, amazing project to work on.
Yeah, and obviously, if he was going to rig it with cams and all that on 24/7, you're talking about some investment as well, Paul. Added on.
You are, yeah. And just of note, I don't think he's in chat because I think he's working away. But I noted Dave Barker said that if we wanted to put some cameras up at his property, we could. So that might be some people that I'm going to have a look into, because he's got his views look on to although you can't see the sea, they look onto Speeton Cliffs. So they're amazing, and he's seen some incredible stuff over years.
Steph's got a little advert in. If anyone is interested, there is a UFO meetup book festival at Todmorden on 9th of November. Danny Robbins, BBC Uncanny will be there. That's good to know.
Brilliant, Steph. Yeah.
If I can get up there myself, I'll be there.
Okay, thank you.
Right, we've got a sighting here from Jack, 1948. In the garden yesterday, Newcastle North East, I saw 2 cylinder-shaped objects. No wings were visible. No exhaust trails seen. Have you had any similar reports?
That was yesterday. No, but I think it was Monday. I got an email or a message via social media asking me if I'd seen the silver. I think it was a cylinder type object at Harpham, which is I don't know, 4 miles from where I sit now. So Harpham is a little village that's got a holy well as well, if anybody's interested in visiting these areas, St. John's Holy Well. But that's beside the point. Just a silver object, though, just thinking of similarities. Harpham to Newcastle, I don't know. And to be interesting, I'll find out a little bit more detail on the Harpham sighting. I have asked for some more information. It's not been forthcoming, but I'll try again and see if it ties in with anything you've got to talk about, Jack. If you want to email us a paragraph, we'll put it onto truthproof.uk website.
Okay, Mark Anderson, Paul, when you got did time speed up? When you got
detached?
What do you mean by that? Yeah,
I don't know. If I'm being truthful, Mark.
Yeah, just write that again, Mark, please, unless somebody can decipher that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Which is strange because we've been talking about something today where there were a bit of a shift in reality in somebody's experience, but I'm not sure we've put it out there, so it can't be that. But go on, Les.
Okay, let's have a look. Now we're back to big cats. Tom Gatlin. My cousin reported to local police that he saw a large black panther-like cat cross the road a couple of years ago in Dewsbury. At the time, it was noted by local journalists. And there's lots of reports in the Paul.
There is. It's amazing. And what I'll tell you what, Tom, what's even more amazing is that when these reports go on social media, you still get a lot of people just laughing at it and saying, what a load of BS. And I know you do get, it brings in people's comments as well saying, yeah, we saw one. But if we were going to do a percentage out of 100, I bet 80% of comments are it's a load of rubbish. And you know yourself, Tom, that it's not. And I know it's not. And a lot of other people in chat know that as well. So, yeah fascinating.
And I think Pete Masters sent me a red top a news article about big cat, but it was an historical one. It was a few years ago. But going back to debunking and all that, an expert came on and said, it's just a large, ordinary domestic cat.
Well, they're good at it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, I'm just looking, before you go to question, because I can see this in small text, Al Durham's put to Jack, just in case we don't get this out. Did you get any pics? I can travel to Newcastle to talk to you about it. Al Durham is as good as anybody I've ever come across when it comes to looking into reports and being critical. He's been critical with me. He'll tell me if I think I'm wrong straight away. And I like that. You'll not get anybody more upfront than Al Durham when it comes to looking into these things and looking into them with detail. You might not always like what you hear, as in he'll not be rude. He'll always be polite, but he'll say it as it is. It'll be clinical and to the point. Good, well done, Al. I hope you get to meet up with him.
Okay. I think a bit tongue in the cheek. Oh no. Let me have a look. Let me have a look at this one. We'll get it on there. Lee Roscoe, Paul, people buy pubs, so why not land?
Yeah, well, yeah, a good point. But once again, though, Lee, if you got a piece of land to put something on, then you've all the permissions to do these things, haven't you? I don't want to put a downer on it. I'm all for it. Ultimately, to be brilliant to get somewhere to observe. But it's not as easy as saying it.
Okay, and I think we've got something else that. What about the local caravan static home sites close to Bempton? Could you rent one and investigate from there?
I suppose you could, but I think well, first of all, the prime ones will be on overlooking the sea, and I don't think you can rent one. You wouldn't want to rent one, D Moon, for a week, would you, or 2 weeks? We go up there 3, 4, 5 times a week anyway. We're only talking about getting out of the elements and other people being able to get involved. But you'd be looking in prime time, you'd be looking at, I don't know, £500 to £700 a week, probably.
Oh, here's a good one for you, Paul. Alderaan, thank you.
Well, it's true.
Sorry, got the wrong one.
Well, what you just said there, though, it is true. What about a boat? No chance. If there's something that you'll not get me on, FL, it's one of them boat things. Do you know, years ago, forget about unexplained phenomena, eldest daughter, Sarah, we went running down because there was a speedboat going out at harbour. Speedboat rides, the shouting in summer, and we got on this speedboat, and I knew soon as we set off out of that harbour that only place I wanted to be were on land. I was frightened to death. And Tom Quinn, who's got a fishing boat in Bridlington Harbour, has asked me many times to come out with him. No chance. Not for me.
I'll throw this one on because it was just relevant to what we was talking about. Jack's saying, sorry, Alderaan, I have no photos. I was in the garden working.
Okay.
Okay. Don't think I've got we've questions unless you can see anything we've missed out.
No, we've covered an hour there though, Les. You know, it's flown. Really appreciate it because I think there were over 170 people in chat, and we've not 6:30. We decided we were going to come on simply because it's kind of my job to do these shorts and fire them at Les, and just being busy with other things, I've just not had time. So we thought we'd do next best thing, and Les agreed, and we come and shared an hour with you guys. So
yeah,
when it happens to me,
it's been a pleasure, Paul. Yeah. And it's been a pleasure with all the people on the stream coming on board as well.
It's brilliant. So as I say, Thursday we've got Ron Murphy, or Ronald Murphy, but I know he likes to be called Ron, and he's going to be talking about. He's written a book on the Fae, so that should be interesting, and other different anomalies. He's pretty open-minded, and across the board.
He covers the entire gamut, I think, of the paranormal, Paul. And, it'd be great. And if you want to look up. If you want to look up Ronald Murphy yourselves and have a look what he's talking about, then do that, and then you can come in and
with some questions early doors.
Some questions early, yeah. Because
I don't see why not,
don't we?
So I'm just looking, Mark. Before we just close it down, when it happened to me, time sped up. I'm sorry, Mark, because because I've loads of time for you, mate. But I'm not sure what happened, because I know you've had a few incidents. And a few things have happened, so I'm just let's have a look at that one. Maybe next Sunday, even. I don't mind. Or contact me in a week, and we'll talk about it.
Thank you for a question. Great chat tonight. What do you think the purpose or the message from the phenomenon is?
What a great question. That's one to make you scratch your head. I don't know. Maybe there isn't a message, Ben. Maybe there's no message for us. Maybe what we think, we're all scratching our heads as human beings, thinking in the terms of human beings. We're not looking at it in the terms of this intelligence, this unknown other that probably does not even think anything like we do, and what we perceive it is important might be of no importance to it, the phenomena. I don't know, but it is fascinating that. It does seem to be all knowing. It's not just one step in front, it's every step in front. So what the purpose of the phenomena is, I don't know. Maybe it's just to observe. Maybe what if we're just toys? What if we're just being steered and just directed through life, and everything that I'm saying now, everything Les is saying as he's thinking what I'm talking about, and you guys, what if it's all just all just a game to the phenomena, and God forbid that there isn't going to be some kind of horrible catastrophe about to unfold in the world. But what if it's a game? And we'll see how this one plays out. And then when we do it. We do it with computer games. We do it with Minecraft. We do it with all sorts of things. What if we're just a game? That was a horrible thought.
Well, that's it. I mean, without sort of like just realizing what time it is, when you look at civilizations, what have disappeared, Paul, but we're seeing the buildings, the stonework, the accuracy of how it all slots together. Like we use bricks today, bricks and mortar.
Yeah,
theirs was no mortar, but every brick slotted together. That technology, we can't reproduce it. We can't lift these heavy stones. We can't move this from a quarry which is 50 miles away.
No, it's incredible, isn't it? When you look, like you just said, you can't slide a piece of paper between joints of this brickwork. How they've done it, guess we'll never know.
So yeah, if any people in the stream has looked into all this, it'd be great to hear your comments on that in future streams.
Yeah, and Jojo's in, and then maybe they're trying to tell us something. Well, maybe they are trying to tell us something. But if they're so intelligent, Rod, and these things, I'm not saying that they're all the same thing, but let's imagine it's all one intelligence portraying or being many, many things and fooling us all. And they know what we're thinking. They know what we're about to do. They know when you're about to pick a gun up, or they know when an aircraft's about to aim a rocket at them, or a missile at them when they're flying, and they can just take evasive action. Why do they need to tell us anything? If they know all this, why not just tell us? I don't know. Dogman sightings in Lincolnshire. There is a few, but we can't go into it now. But if you've got any, you know where I am. Yeah, Dogman TP Hunting. There's Phil. Good to see you, mate. And Tom Waters, excellent. So thanks for support, guys. I mean, I can't believe it, to be honest. Just so we come on for half an hour before. So
yeah, you got that one on screen.
I have. Yeah,
we are computer game models for them. Going back to what you were suggesting, their simulation of an alien race. They have to stay properly to conquer the stars without killing themselves. Hard level gameplay.
Yeah, well, you could be right, Zeno, and I kind of like the way you think. So if you want to come in on one Sunday and just share a few of your thoughts, just even if it's just 10 minutes, do it. Just give us a shout. And are we closing down now then, Les?
Yeah, I'll just give it a quick scour to see if we've. Well, we'll get this one on because we have talked about this in part. Pete Armstrong. Lads, do you not find it strange that paintings from the Italian masters have UFOs in them, but we've only found them recently, last 20 years?
Well, I'll take it from that, Pete. Do you mean that we've only realised that these are UFOs in the last 20 years? Obviously, because the paintings have been around a lot longer. But it is fascinating, isn't it? It is, and it makes you wonder, doesn't it? These absolutely incredibly talented people have painted something that's quite out of character within a painting, in biblical scenes and all sorts of things. And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If there isn't some ancient writings somewhere that they've left behind, talking about what they saw and what they experienced. I don't know.
I mean, what makes it more interesting for me is as technology has got on, and we're in 2024 with all this technology where everything's presented to us on a screen right in front of our eyes, on our phone or PC or whatever, and we're easily, that's for want of a better phrase, influenced or trained, and we know what UFOs look like. We know there could be beams coming off on whatever, however they're described. But going back to the old masters now, they had none of this to influence their thinking. No. So you've got to really come to a conclusion or some conclusion that what they saw, they're painting.
Yeah. And when you think about what they paint, unless you're Picasso, and you're just going to put somebody with an eye up here and an eye down here. What these old masters are painting are pretty detailed, accurate paintings. So we must be looking at something that's an accurate representation of what they've seen, I would think.
Right, that's it then. We are
Okay.
good to finish. And thanks for all the questions. Really, really interesting. And I like the way some of you guys think out there, you know, and
no, it's great. William Nielsen, Stan Smith, and I know there's people. Could it be real? Tom Waters, we've done Tom, we've done Dogman, TP Hunting, Beer Monster. So thanks, guys. As far as I'm concerned, that's been great.
See you
Thank
all
you.
Thursday, yeah. And enjoy
Karen
the rest
Bierman.
enjoy the rest of the evening, and we'll see you next time.